Hey Guardians! I'm very happy with the new changes in this season, especially for hunters. Yeah, you hunters!
Oh, me! She's talking about me!
Your prayers finally got answered, and one of the most annoying hunter problems, which was the lack of survivability, is gone forever. What was the last time we didn't nag for the lack of survivability of the hunter class? Or didn't wish to have a healing rift of the warlocks and the overshield of the Titans? In this season, our wishes come true, and Bungie gives us the most powerful exotic you could imagine, and I'm already addicted to that.
Oh, I'm addicted too.
So we don't need any warlocks or Titans in our Fireteam, not anymore. Don't be jealous, Titans and Warlocks. I have lots of broken builds for you if you like this video and touch the bell button. Anyway, this build is so broken because I did easily solo the Master Lost sector with that. Yeah, you heard it right, not legend. Master, with 40 power levels below. Don't you believe that, do you? Let's watch some gameplay and I'll explain it further.
You don't have to be alone all by yourself. Tired of doing things just to save your mental health. You made a wish and then you lost it down to wishing well. But when you're with me, there's no need to be. So tell me, is there somewhere else that you wanna go? 'Cause you've been running round in circles, stuck in slow-mo. I've got that feeling that you really wanna hit the door. If you lost the fight, then let's win the war. When you're tired of fighting and you gotta run, hop right in, sit shotgun, I'm driving, I'll be your protector. Who's gonna be there when everything is tumbling down? Who's gonna be there when you fall to keep you off of the ground? I'll be your shelter, they'll never get you. So stay with me, yeah, and I'll be your protector. No, it ain't easy to survive up in these city streets. Looking for someone to help you when you scrape your knees. Taking too many punches, now it's getting hard to breathe. I'll be your reason so you can believe. Are you waiting for someone? Just hold on, here I come to fix when you're undone. Now tell me, when you're tired of fighting and you gotta run, hop right in, sit shotgun, I'm driving, I'll be your protector.
Isn't that awesome? Your enemies are always blinded and jolted. You can run through them without receiving any harm. By killing every one of them, moths are rising from their ashes, and ionic traces are crawling from their body to aid you in your fight. You are the true master of Moth and God of Thunder. Flying Moth gives you overshields all the time and brings death to your opponents, while crawling ionic traces keep your abilities always fully charged and make you amplified to give you a tangible superiority against your enemies. So, you have a strong overshield, blinded and jolted targets, fully charged abilities, and being amplified all the time. It doesn't get much better than that, does it?
It was perfect. Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
But this is the only half of the story. Can you believe that? You also have 4 loyal warriors in your pocket and can order them to fight for you or make you stronger by guarding you. And wait, there is more. Once in a while, your final blow makes a powerful elemental arc orb you can throw to your enemies to kill them, and if they are not dead, they will be jolted. Oh, my dear hunters, the blessing of this build is not ending. With this build, you can gain your super and abilities at a rate beyond your imagination. This is by far the best build for the hardest and highest activity. Not just for running with your fire team, but also for doing solo, as you can see. You can use it anywhere, whether it's legendary or master lost sectors, raids, dungeons, or high-level nightfalls. It makes you virtually invincible. If you're enjoying the power of this build, please make sure to subscribe and like the video and stay tuned for more juicy builds. Now let's dive deeper into this build and see how we can maximize its potential, shall we? The 2 key exotics for this build are the newly released Mothkeeper's Wraps, exotic gauntlets, and the diris exotic grenade launcher. There is an unwritten synergy between these exotics. Every final blow with diris, while you put on the mothkeeper's wraps, makes 2 moths instead of 1. One of them is defensive and always comes to you for giving you an overshield, while the other one is offensive and chases your opponents. The offensive moth can blind your targets. But this is just a small part of the build. With the right combination of subclass and mods, diris can also make the blinding explosion when you are amplified, which is the case all the time, and makes you orbs of power and ionic traces. These ionic traces bring you lots of ability energy, armor charges, and damage increase. In addition, Mothkeeper's Wraps itself gives you 2 grenade charges. Each one of them makes 2 moths, which you can control to be offensive-offensive, offensive-defensive, or defensive-defensive. I'll explain them more down the road, but the offensive one can count as an arc grenade, and jolt and blind the targets as well. Killing the jolt targets can also bring you ionic traces, and this loop of spamming abilities and making ionic traces goes on and on. This is the most powerful and beautiful synergy you can get in the entire game. For the subclass, arcstrider is a must-have, along with your preferred super, dodge, and grenade. But I highly recommend using Gathering Storm for the higher DPS, and Marksman's Dodge and Flashbang Grenade for shorter cooldown. We can also make a similar powerful build like this one with our Strand subclass. Tell me in the comments if you want me to make that with the Strand subclass. Anyway, aspect-wise, we need the flow state. This aspect helps you to become amplified by defeating the jolted targets, gain your dodge faster, increase your reload speed, and have more resistance when using your dodge. Next, we need the lethal current. We use this aspect because the other one sucks.
You make a good point.
Plus, it makes your melee stronger after dodging, and it could be useful when adds are close to you. Fragment-wise, we need the Spark of Shock. This fragment helps us to jolt our targets with grenades. This is very important, because damaging a jolted target also damages other targets around them, stun overload champions, and defeating them brings us ionic traces. Next, we need the Spark of Ions. This fragment helps us make ionic traces by defeating jolted targets, as I mentioned before. For the third fragment, we need the Spark of Discharge. This one helps us to make ionic traces by defeating targets with arc weapons, which in our case is the diris grenade launcher. See, there are tons of sources for making ionic traces and becoming amplified. The last fragment is free to choose, but I highly recommend choosing wisely, especially in different scenarios. You can choose the Spark of Beacons to add another source of blinding to your build, which I use most of the time, the Spark of Focus to gain your dodge back faster when you are running, which helps you gain your grenade with armor mods, the Spark of Resistance to become harder to die when you are surrounded, and last but not least, the Spark of Amplitude to make tons of orbs of power. There is not a specific seasonal artifact requirement mod for this build, so you can use it in any future seasons, but there are some mods this season making this build twice more fun and powerful and adding a little bit of spice into that. To make this build spicy, we need an Elemental Orb arc, Elemental Fury, Refreshing Pickups, Monochromatic Maestro, and Elemental Embrace. Elemental Orb Arc lets us make an arc orb that has the same mechanic as a tangle by getting the final blow with our arc weapon, which in our case is diris. Throwing this arc orbs damages and jolts our enemies, so it adds another source of jolting targets to our build. By picking up these elemental arc orbs, the refreshing pickups give us ability energy. As you can see, there is a strong synergy between these mods. Elemental Fury gives us extra ability damage to champion when we are stunning them. In our case, it gives us extra damage to our grenade when used against champions. Monochromatic Maestro increases our arc weapon damage, aka the diris, when using our grenade or vice versa, which is very useful in this build because we are spamming our grenade and diris all the time. Last but not least, Elemental Embrace gives us extra resistance against arc damage while we are amplified, which is our case all the time and makes us feel tankier against arc damage. Now, let's take a look at armor mods. These are optimized to gain your abilities and super energy back as fast as possible. Stat-wise, we need resilience, mobility, and discipline as much as possible. Let's see how it all comes together. Although this build seems complicated because of the synergy between subclass, exotics, and mods, it is easy to perform. You just need to spam your grenade and the diris shots on your enemies. There is an important question you may ask. How can I use this in the higher level content with the champion while I need the champion mods? Because in this season, grenade launchers have no champion mods. The answer is easy. You don't need that. Your grenade can handle both overload and unstoppable champions because it can jolt and blind your target. The blinding effect can stun unstoppable champions, and the jolting effect can stun overload champions. So you just need a weapon for barrier champion, which there are lots of good options on our kinetic slot. I myself use Lodbrok C with Demolitionist, and I highly recommend using a weapon with a Demolitionist perk on that slot because it has a perfect synergy with this build. Final blows with a weapon while having a Demolitionist perk gives you grenade energy, and throwing grenade reloads that weapon as well. Such a nasty combo.
Nice.
If you are struggling to find a good option for that slot, you can ask in the comments section, and I will teach you where you can find the best option. Before getting to the end of this video, I want to ask you something. We can make lots of OP and broken builds for hunters, warlocks, and titans in this season, but what do you want us to make for the next video? What do you like to see? Even you can tell us which subclass. And more importantly, please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. By doing so, you will motivate us to make better videos for you and grow our channel. Thanks, love you.
Don't forget to drop a comment, like, and subscribe. Thank you!